We've been doing terror rifts now for a couple of weeks, and there are optimal ways to run these. I've gotten pretty decent at running them, but no one is better and more successful in obtaining more rewards than my good friend Y Try. So I brought him on the channel today so he can bring us into his tips on how to get the optimal most amount of rewards that you could potentially get running these terror rifts. Y Try, welcome to the channel again today, man. Looking forward to your tips on this topic.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here.
So we're going through your runs right now. We have an example, and we have a bunch of tips that you kind of laid out for us as well. So the first thing that we're going to really focus on is being the first activity of the day. Can you take us through why doing this as one of your first things of the day is so important?
Yeah, so if players aren't aware, when you're just playing day to day and you get more legendary items, there's actually eventually like a soft cap that you reach, or like a, I don't know what you want to call it, but like you get diminishing returns on the amount of legendary drops that you get throughout the day. And if you farm a lot, and you've seen this before, it's pretty evident. And people have said that the legendary items you get from the terror rifts are also tied to that daily counter. So if you want the best drop chance, the idea is to do this early on in the day. Just try and, before you're getting those diminishing returns.
That makes total sense. It's something that I didn't know because, yeah, why put all of your time into it? At the end of the day, when you have less of a chance of dropping legendary items, makes total sense. As long as those are all tied together with the regular legendary drops as well.
Correct, yeah.
All right, cool. And another thing that you wanted to mention here was to be there early. Something that I always notice is you'll get the pop-up on the screen that says a terror rift has opened. And then you have to find where the terror rift is, you get yourself there, and the 13-minute terror rift suddenly turns into an 11-minute terror rift. Take us through what you do to make sure you're prepared early, a couple of things that you do to have that optimal run, because when you think about it, if a terror rift is 13 minutes long, it's open for 13 minutes. And if you're prepared upon opening, you get a lot more time in there to get to a lot more of these spires. So take us through what you do.
Yeah, well, I mean, for starters, terror rifts are open every half hour. So it starts at like 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30. That's every half hour, the top of the hour and half past. So you kind of know already when they're going to start. It will also say in the world chat, you get like a 3-minute heads up, 2 minutes, and 1 minute before it actually opens. So the idea there is, like, for me, I get a whole party going and we're standing at the portal waiting before it even opens. And just that way, like you said, you get the full 13 minutes of farming.
All right, now you just mentioned that you want to be in a party. I know when this all started, the whole thing was you don't want to be in a party because it wasn't giving you anything optimal, but things have been changed since then. Essentially, things were fixed. So what's the benefit of being, I know what the benefit is of being in a party as you enter, but what's the benefit versus being in a party or just doing it solo by yourself?
Yeah, no, that's a good point to cover here. Like you said, when it first started, the terror rifts, like anything that someone else killed, you did not get drops for, even if they were in your party. That's been changed. And not only can you like run together and help each other get shards, but like if you're near your party members, you can kind of run over to where they were, and anything they've killed, you get fragments for their kills as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that the more fragments that you get, the more spires that you can enter. How many spires is your record that you've been able to get into? For me, it was 3, and I had enough for 4, but I only had about 30 seconds, and I wouldn't have been able to take down everything in time, so I didn't enter. But I'm sure you've got me beat.
And there actually only are 4. Like, that's the cap that you can do in one terror rift. There's only 4 spires that open up.
So okay. So I guess I should be asking not how many have you gotten through, because clearly that's 4, but how much extra fragments have you been left over with after getting through 4?
I think my record is probably like 1,200 fragments left over. I think even in this run here, I've got 1,000 at the end.
Jeez. And you are running the same class as I am, the Crusader. Very similar build as well. A nice PvE build right here for this. What's the benefit of having all of those extra fragments afterwards? Like, I know that you get a drop to your mail, but is it really worth doing that crazy, that sweaty palm feel? Because I know when I'm doing this, there's tension. You're on a timer, you're playing a little bit harder than you would, actually a lot harder than you would do just some open world farming, because you want to get some of this gear. What's the benefit of getting the extra fragments after you get through 4 spires?
Well, I've done a fair number of these rifts, of course. I've gotten my 10 every week, but
Hmm.
I personally haven't really noticed a difference if I have like 100 extra fragments at the end versus 1,000 extra fragments. It kind of feels like you get the same rewards either way. It's all random. I do at the end here, I show like I saved one of my runs where I actually had a legendary item in the mail from one of these rewards here.
Hmm.
And that was I had 750 extra fragments that run. So I don't know for sure if you need like, a certain amount to have a better chance of getting legendary or how that goes, but it doesn't really feel like it makes a big difference whether you have, like I say, a little bit versus a lot.
That's interesting. So you can kind of relax a little bit once your time. You know you're looking good. You know you're going to get your 4th spire. You don't have to go as crazy. Now, also what I'm noticing here from the gameplay is something that I don't do, and it's really something simple that I should be doing. I noticed that when you switch from zone to zone, because the spires they're going to be popping up in the red highlighted zones on the map, you're teleporting from one zone to the next. For some
Oh
reason,
yeah.
I never teleport. I always just decide to run there. I didn't even think to teleport, which is such a silly mistake or thing to not even think about. But what a faster way to get there.
Definitely. And the waypoints are still on the map, the same they are as like in the overworld. And I prefer to farm next to a waypoint if I can, just getting a ton of fragments. And then when the new highlighted zone pops up, I can easily just teleport to the nearest waypoint and run over to that way.
Yeah,
It's a lot easier than running across the whole map.
super smart. Now, speaking of, obviously you run towards mobs that you may run into, blue, yellow, orange. You want to just take everyone really quickly through the amount of fragments that drop for a regular enemy, a blue, a yellow, and then an elite in orange.
I know you said it in one of your videos, and I haven't really even paid attention. I think the blues drop 6 each, and the yellows are 12. And if you can find the ancient elites, they'll drop 24, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember the elites. I wanted to say 18. Either way, whatever it was really the most effective to go after the mobs of blues because they go down super easy. Like you could just
They
run through
do,
them and then you're getting 18 drops right there. Either way, if you have a solid build that you're using, you're going to get through any of them. So I didn't. I thought you would know those numbers for me, man. That's
yeah.
you're the
That's
stats
been,
guy.
I get so many extra fragments at the end. I just never really bothered to
It
watch the
doesn't
numbers.
matter. Now, another thing that's really important that we didn't even mention, which is another obvious thing, you're running this in a party of 4. Another thing that you're able to get are those gem drops. I know me personally, I love getting gems dropped. You could either sell them for platinum if you want to, or you can keep them and put them into your gems. I know you're yelling at me on the side when we're not recording here so that I can stop selling all of them and put them into my build. I don't know. I like collecting platinum, but getting gem drops is a nice benefit to this as well. Now, let's talk about some gameplay really quickly. What are just some basic ways that you focus your gameplay inside of these terror rifts?
Yeah, well, for starters, I'm in here with a PvE build. Like my fast farming build, if you will.
Hmm.
It's a lot of quick, easy mobs. It's not anything too challenging. So you want something that's fast and can take down like a lot of mobs at once. And then I also, I have my teammates or my party members nearby me. They're not like on top of me following,
Hmm.
which you will both get fragments that way. But if they're nearby getting their own kills, you can run over to them afterwards and get all of those fragments as well.
Right. That's actually worth noting too for people that are I mean, everyone's new to terror rifts because they're only here for a few weeks. But for someone that's brand new, maybe never tried, if you are running in a party, if you're not collecting as a party, your party mates may take down enemies that drop the fragments, but you need to personally collect them. They won't be able to collect them for you and it count towards your count. Just want to throw that in there really quick for people that are maybe brand new to terror rifts. What else do you typically do?
I don't know. I guess farming in a party here is just the main thing.
So, farming in a party, being prepared once a Terror Rift opens to give yourself the full 13 minutes, and trying to do everything that you can to stay near those waypoints so you can kind of teleport where you need to. You need to make sure that you know where the spires are. That's something that I've struggled with from time to time as well. If you just can't find them, and typically that happens if you're playing alone and if you're running around the red zone, you just can't find the spire. You could definitely waste some time in doing that. So being able to farm around a spire is smart also, just for the purposes of time. So do you have any other basic tips? I know that after this Terra Rift, you're going to go into, what was it? You were going to go into an Oblivion Pillar as well, which I kind of want to watch with
Correct.
everyone. It's something that I've never
Yeah.
done. Whenever I've gotten those extra, what are those things called that you could sell that drop? I forget what they're called.
The Terror Essence.
Terror Essence. Never sold them, never seen them for sale, but I typically use them on my bounties to turn them into Hellslayer bounties, which I don't think I've ever gotten a legendary drop from one of those. So I want to try doing an Oblivion Pillar like you're going to be showing us pretty soon here as well. But what other tips do you have that you maybe want to mention before you go or before we move on?
Well, just with like what you mentioned there with the Hellslayer bounties. I know like a couple patches ago when terrorists were the new thing, it did bring up that Hellslayer bounties are an option to do with the Terror Essence, but they are also they're easier and less rewarding. So like for me, if I can do an Oblivion Pillar, that's what I'm gonna do because it's supposed to be a better drop chance.
Right. So what I'm watching right now as I watch your little film here, you have 646 extra fragments. You've already gone through your 4 Oblivion Pillars, and
I think I
something.
actually have one more to go here, but
Oh, do you?
I know where it is. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So you know the footage. Well, something that I wish that was on here was a timer letting you know how much time you have left in your
there
group.
is actually on the left side there where it shows my fragments. I can actually scroll down and it shows the time. It's just too big to see it on the screen.
Oh, there it is right there. Wow, what timing. It literally showed that as you were just talking about it. Didn't realize that. Okay, that's cool. I never saw that myself. You know what it is? I think when you're in there and you're like I said, you're sweaty palming it, just trying to make sure that you get as much as you can in time. I never scrolled all the way down to the bottom to see the timer, but that is nice to see. So look, as you can see right now, you have 66 seconds. This is going to be over. At this point, you're just going to be collecting as many fragments as you can, just running through because all of your spires have been collected. Any last things you want to say before you show us what the Oblivion Pillow looks like and what kind of rewards you get?
Not really. I mean, main thing is, just don't worry too much about the time. And like all these little piles of, 2 fragments here, 2 over there. You don't need to pick up everything. It's probably a much better use of your time to just go find big groups of monsters and then pick up, giant piles at once.
hmm Quick question: do pets, for everyone watching, do pets pick up the fragments?
They do, yeah. It's almost to the point that it's annoying because you can't pick it up yourself. Because once something drops, the pet is like tagged that it's gonna pick that item up itself, and you can't then.
Mm. As long as you're not going too quickly, where your pet is teleporting to you, like any other pickup mechanic inside of the game as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so this is collapsing right here. You got your thing complete. You had over 1,000 fragments left over. Do you go into your mail and show us what's going on here? What you get out of
I
that or no?
do, yeah, yeah. Because I showed my last Terra Rift where I had the legendary in the mail.
Okay, let's take a look at what you're
Okay.
showing this one.
I think I just go here, salvage everything quick to show it a little cleaned up. So here's what I got on that one run. It was just the one legendary. I did get one Terror Essence as well. But yeah, so here's what I got from my 1,000 fragments. It was a bunch of yellows and blues.
Hmm.
Here's a previous run where I had a legendary.
It's
And what's
funny.
interesting,
You had less
that
fragments
legendary
on that one.
item. Yeah, yeah, and that legendary item, which I wasn't sure of, it does also end up being one of the new ones that has the new magic affixes.
Okay, nice. So you actually got yourself a nice piece.
Right, right. Well, I mean, it still wasn't great, but it was just cool to know that your extra fragments can also give you a legendary with the extra magic affixes.
That's something worth noting as well. And now you're going to go into one of those Oblivion pillars. I've gotten only one piece that was better than something that I was already wearing from running these as well myself. Out of all the ones that I've run,
Yeah.
But it's a lot better.
Oh,
It's really cool, and the magic affix is really awesome. So here you just went into your satchel, you grabbed the essence, and then you just had a pillar spawn for you. And this is essentially the same thing as a Hellslayer bounty. It runs the
it
same
is.
way.
Yep. It's a little more difficult. If you saw, I did go into my inventory and I switched to my raid build just because I have the Conjuration of Light on there. I've got some other defensive things. I think I used the Survivor Paragon tree as well.
Okay.
'Cause I used to do these with in my PvE build, and it worked great for a while. And then I did finally die once, and I was like, okay, I better put on a little more try hard build and
Yeah.
make
Gear
sure I
up.
don't like lose my essence. Yeah.
Now that's a good point as well, because I actually died in one of my Hellslayer bounties, and when you die, do you actually lose any of the rewards that you would get out of this? I think you do.
It is reduced awards, yeah, and you don't get the essence back either, so it's kind
It's
of a kick in
brutal.
the butt there.
It's brutal, yeah. So you really want to do everything that you can to not die in these. And if you're finding yourself doing, let's say, a Hellslayer bounty, and you're not going to get the rewards for the bounty if you die, I don't believe. So you really want to make sure that you're being successful in it. And if not, potentially don't do them. All right, man, I think we got a lot of great tips on how to be successful in Hellslayer bounties, getting this brand new gear that everyone's looking for. We know what to expect, that everything is not a slam dunk and a home run, but how to give ourselves the best chance. I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate you sending over the footage so we could have something really solid to look at as we discussed it. And I also want to remind everyone that you are the owner and founder of the Revenants Discord server, my favorite spot to go for information and guides for Diablo Immortal on Discord. I'll be linking that in the description of this video so that you guys could all go check it out. And if you do join his server, make sure that you tag me and say what's up when you get in there so I can know that you came from my video and dropped your way over into his server. I'd really appreciate that. And why try? I appreciate you coming through, man. Thanks so much again for your time.
Yeah, thanks again for having me.
And guys, we do have on the channel multiple guides for Crusader builds that were built by Why Try. Make sure you go check those out. They're on the main page of the channel, and we'll see you back here tomorrow with another video.